Hello, and thank you so much for joining Mindful Mondays. Actually, it's the Network Effect, which is a subsidiary of Mindful Mondays MKE. My name is Shantel Bacchus. I am the co-founder of Mindful Mondays MKE, as well as the Network Effect. And I am sitting here with a truly amazing young gentleman. Although you say you're in your 30s now, he's still a young gentleman for me. Like my nephew as well. So we're going to talk about him, but I do have some information here that I put together that I do want to read off since I took some time for it, Amos, okay? So as we mentioned today, we're talking about 501c3s, their importance they play in the community as well as around the world. There's been many changes to federal government, to charities, and we just want to make sure that we're putting a spotlight on some of these important organizations and make sure we give them the support that they need. And we're going to talk about your foundation as well. But today we have a truly inspiring guest joining us, a man whose journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Hailing from Milwaukee's north side with me as well. We stay right across the street from each other in 53206. Yeah, so hailing from Milwaukee's north side, he's the middle child of 9. Yes, a big family. He's a proud product of the Dr. Howard Fuller Collegiate Academy, and he's a 2-time graduate of the University of the Wisconsin System. He earned his degree in criminology, higher education, leadership, as well as criminal justice. And he's stacking up credentials, a lot of credentials here, while blazing a trail of mentorship, advocacy, and leadership as a former state and federal probation officer in the state of Wisconsin. But his story really runs deeper than just the titles that we just mentioned to you all there. Behind the degrees, things of that nature, and the accolades is a man who has overcome several situations that most of us probably not be able to overcome and be so successful, to include homelessness, academic dismissal, and personal really struggles to become a force for change. He is the first in his family to graduate from college. He's the founder of the Malone Foundation. He's the founder and the executive director of the Malone Foundation here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he's a board member for multiple organizations dedicated to empowering youth and the underserved communities. He's broken barriers as the first and only Black probation and parole officer agent in Walworth County, as well as the first Black board member of the Whitewaters Fire and Police Commission. He's currently pursuing his PhD in criminal justice, studying reentry and reintegration, and he continues to advocate for the criminal justice facility reform and mentorship, proving that where you start from does not determine. That's a big deal, where you finish. So I'm going to use that again. So I'm going to just say that one more time. He's proving that where you start from does not determine where you finish. So please help me welcome my sweetheart. You know, I love Amos and his whole family, Amos Malone. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Amos.
Thank you.
Yes, I know. I just want to mention, you sort of reached out to me because you felt as though you had something you wanted to share with the audience as well. What made you reach out and feel like this is something you wanted to be a part of?
Well, I saw the podcast and I saw Mindful Mondays, and with my wife being a therapist, and she always teach or preach mindfulness, so I'm always practicing that at home with my children. And when I was a probation officer, I'll be like sit there with the people that I supervised, and we would just take time to, let's breathe for a second. Let's take time to reflect. Let's take on a lot of things that we're doing. So when I saw it, I'm like, I got a lot of stuff that I'm doing that I like to share to the community. And to be able to just be a part of that, I was like, this is huge, and I know where this could go.
Well, that's a big deal because you really took the initiative, and that's very important. A lot of people think about what they could do, what they want to do, but they don't take the initiative. They have great ideas, but it's sort of like implementing the initiatives and the ideas. But just to go back, because you have shared a lot of personal information, which is really good too, because we like to let the audience know about the people that we speak with. Just talk to me about your childhood, not all the details, but when you said that you had academic dismissal, how did you end up coming back to like the education system and making it to a PhD level? Like, what was your journey like for your education?
It was curious, like the way I grew up, you know, drug addiction, incarceration, you know, typical things that you would see on the north side of Milwaukee. So by the time I got to high school, you know, I started getting older, you know, started becoming a product of my environment, the people I was hanging with, what I was doing in the community. So my freshman year, I maintained like a 3-point GPA in school. I went to CEO Leadership Academy. And then by the time my sophomore year came, I was kind of feeling myself, and I ended up getting into an incident where I got into a fight. And once I got to the fight, they kicked me out of school.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, kicked me out, uninvited me to the school. So after I got kicked out of the school, I ended up going to North, but by that time I got like a 3.7 and I was just like, this is too easy. But at the same time, I was kind of dealing with homelessness, sleeping at, I was sleeping on
control at that time.
Yep. So I was sleeping on couch, house to house, and it just was no stability there. So I ended up dropping out of high school. So once I ended up dropping out of high school, my sophomore year, my GPA went from like a 3.5 to like a 2.0, and then it's like it just steady declined. So by the time I went back to my junior year, I tried to go back to CEO because that's where all my family went. And once I got there, I ended up getting kicked out again for a second time for disrespectful to teachers, being disrespectful. So in the process of doing that, I dropped out of school again. I stopped going.
And it's your junior year?
And it's my junior year. It's supposed to be, and I stopped going. But it was a turning point at that point. I ended up going to my sister's graduation. And, they
and I know your sister,
yeah.
so which one are we referring to?
Correct.
Oh, correct. Okay, because she's married to my nephew Andre, so we got separate family as
They
well.
did the kente cloth ceremony, and then my mom, usually everybody calling their mom up to do the kente cloth ceremony, and my mom got up, she thought she was getting it, but she ended up giving it to Andre.
Oh, yes.
And my mom cried. And with the struggles that we went through with our family, I told my mom, I'm like, hey, if you get your life together, I get my life together.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Because I saw how much it hurt her. So I was like, if you get your life together, I get mine together. And then she was like, okay. So she ended up going to rehab. And I ended up like, okay, well, I'm going to fight to get back in school. So I ended up going to this organization called, a nonprofit called Our Next Generation.
Okay.
And after school, I'm going there every day after school. And, well, I wasn't in school. I was acting like I was in school.
Transitioning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I could act like, so I can go there because they was giving out meals. I had nowhere to eat. So once they giving out these meals, I'm like, I just started seeing them. They started believing in me. And they like, oh, you got something to offer. You got something to offer. So I ended up like seeing my sister end up graduating and going to college. I saw the lifestyle. I was like, I want to go there. CEO to let me back in for a third time because this is the only place I knew that preached to and through college. So now this only avenue, this only way I know, this is when I'm gonna go this way. So then once that happened, Our Next Generation wrote me letters of recommendation to prove to CEO that I've changed and that I can do it. So once that happened, I got back into school and I got denied from every college I applied to.
I saw that, that makes you still over.
Every college I got.
So just to back up, so you did get accepted back once again to CEO. And just to take a pause, I want to commend you for that. I know it's so easy because it's a part of your life just going over your timeline here, but that is really commendable because you're put out of school. Some people would take all of those rejections, that bad karma, or whatever you want to call it, the bad environment, and they would just give up. So that's very commendable, and I guess that's why you're where you're at right now. So you went back to CEO, you started applying for colleges, you got several, what they call declination letters, I guess, and then what did you decide to do at that time?
Well, I had to, the crazy part is I had to do a lot of academic or credit recovery because not being in school those 2 years.
That makes sense, yeah, things change.
Takes up a lot of credits. So I got denied from so many colleges, and what happened was Andre ended up putting me in contact with the admissions counselor at Whitewater. And he was like, once I talked to him, I said, dude, I'm gonna either be dead or in jail. I was like, just the environment, because my friend at that time, he ended up getting arrested for a strong arm robbery, facing 15 years.
Wow.
And I was just like, I don't want to go down that path. I saw him in jail, and I was just like, I don't want to do that. So that's where the inspiration of all this came from, bro. So I talked to the director at Whitewater, admissions counselor at Whitewater. I told him, like, I'm gonna be dead or in jail if you don't accept me. My sister go there, you know what they're capable of. I just was dealt the bad hand, give me a chance. He told me if I bring a 3.0 my whole senior year, he'll accept me. And I did that.
The rest is history.
That's your history. Once I did that, he accepted me, and I went to Whitewater, and I never looked back.
You never look back. I recall that. And it's so funny because some of the details, of course, you were with the younger generation, but our family, as I mentioned, was right across the street from each other. And the Andre you're referring to is like my nephew as well, and he's married to your sister. So we've been family for so long, but I was not even aware of this. But it does show how just being with the right environment, the right crowd of people that you're around, because let's assume that you not had that one person. You two are so close in age. It's not like he's that much older than you. I think
my
months.
brother.
Yes, I think they're months different. But it just shows the importance of surrounding yourself with positive people. So So once you went to school and got your undergrad degree, what made you continue to go to criminal justice and want to stay in that area and have the foundation of yours?
So originally my major was general business, and I always said I want to open up a nonprofit like Our Next Generation to help the youth the way they did for me. And then I got kicked out the College of Business.
You know what? Stop. What happened then? What happened now?
Because I got 2 0 points in college back to back. Like I struggled trying to balance social life.
Okay.
I was working 3 jobs. I had a girlfriend. I was like,
Wow.
I struggled to balance everything.
And this at UW.
And it's at UW.
Okay,
White
were you on
Water.
campus?
I was on campus. I lived on campus. I was the crazy part. The reason why I started off with a high GPA at 3.7. So by the time my sophomore year came, I'm trying to now get comfortable, do so much that I didn't know how to balance it. So some days I wasn't going to class or I missed homework, and so now I'm getting 2 0 points back to back, and I didn't know that if you get 2 0 points back to back,
that makes sense
you
to me.
academically dismissed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right. Trying to save you a college debt, maybe.
Right.
Okay.
So then I ended up had to petition to get back into Whitewater. Like, hey, look, I'm sorry, my GPA is still above a 2 point. Just I gotta let me get a chance. So they gave me a chance to take summer classes, and then after that I was like, I gotta keep going. So how it came about was after they kicked me out the College of Business, I was like, what's something else I'm interested in? And like I told you, my friend was facing 15 years. Yes. My brother was incarcerated. I was just like, and I always thought because of me being kicked out of school, dropping out, I was doing stuff I wasn't supposed to do in Milwaukee. So it's like, this is where I need to be, criminal justice. So I'm in criminal justice classes, and I fell in love with it because I'm like, I start seeing the book side of it versus the street side of it.
Yeah, totally different.
And so then I'm arguing with a lot of his classmates like, no, that's not accurate. And once I fell in love with it, it was like, this is it. So when I graduated with my bachelor's in criminology, I knew I wanted to work with people that were incarcerated, but I didn't know when or my time and when it would happen. So I graduated, I couldn't find a job right away, and I got depressed. So I'm like, all I know is school.
Go back.
So let me go back.
Yeah, don't got to pay the school loan.
Right.
I got to pay the school loan.
Exactly.
6 months. Okay,
so I was like, how do? And then friends like, dude, you too smart. You gotta go back for your master's. You gotta go back. You're one of the smartest people I know. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. So then I ended up getting accepted to go back to Whitewater, get my master's in higher education leadership. So then I'm trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I thought about being a criminal justice professor. So I'm like, okay, I can teach the next generation the things that I've learned and more. But I always knew in the back of my mind I wanted to work with people that was incarcerated or had some form of impact on the justice system. That was the passion. So then after I graduated with my first master's, I still couldn't find a job. So I'm like, dude, like, why can't I find a job? So I ended up going back to start my second master's because I started getting denied from PhD programs. When I was I started getting denied. So I'm like, maybe if I show them that I'm really serious about criminal justice or this thing, then they will accept me into this PhD program. So I went back for a second master's, just doing classes, just to keep busy so I don't get into this depressive state.
Exactly, yeah.
So just to keep busy, so then I ended up going back, starting at UW Platteville to get my second master's in criminal justice. So then in the process of my second semester, I ended up getting a job working as a state probation officer.
Okay, well that worked out just perfectly too. Okay.
So then I ended up stopping school for a while to then just focus on being a probation officer.
Okay.
And this was in Walworth County. This was like no black. They actually, the first day actually thought I was somebody on supervision when I walked in.
Yes.
And I was like,
no,
I'm here.
No, thank you. I work here.
I work here.
Okay, good.
So then once I did that, it was just like people were looking at me. It was like I remember I'll never forget. I walked into the interview. I was like, hey, I'm here to do the interview to get your statement. I'm not talking to you. I was like, why?
He's like, that?
Yeah. There was a dude. He was in custody. He was like, I'm not talking to you. I was like, why? He's like, because you don't look like a probation officer. It's like, how's a probation officer look? It's just like, I'm not talking to you. So, but I got that a lot. It's like, it was new to them.
That look like us or from,
No, this was Walworth County, so majority.
Caucasians, okay.
Yeah. So, they just, because they didn't see a black probation officer in this county before, it was like, even the people that worked at the jails, they was like, we need to see your ID.
Yeah, that's a story in itself. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
okay.
a whole other topic. So, I had, because then I became the first black probation officer there, and then I just wanted to stay active, so I started joining boards, fire and police commission. I'm like, how do I do this?
Your experience as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I just started to join stuff, and then eventually I was supervising somebody, and I'm motivating everybody else to change their behaviors in life. And I started mentoring students at Whitewater. I'm like, how am I gonna give everybody else to keep going and be great, and I'm not, and I'm still here.
So you didn't consider that great with your all those degrees and all the experience that you feel was more inside of you. More, that makes sense. Okay.
And then I'm like, well, I'm about to go federal. I'm gonna go federal. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna go federal. So then I applied. I just started sending my resume out. Started taking classes, started taking all this stuff, building on, send my resume out, and then I got an email back from the United States District Courts in Madison.
That's a big deal.
And he was like, I know this ain't probation, but would you still open this position? I'm like, sure. So
I reached out to you.
They reached out to me.
Okay.
So I ended up going for the interview, and at this time I had locks in my hair, and I was like,
locks,
I was like, they're not gonna hire nobody with locks in here. Like, there's no black people in here. And when I did that, I went in there. So, you know, I don't know if anyone else do this. When you know you probably gonna get rejected, your confidence, like, you just don't care, so your confidence is like.
I think that's most of us. I can agree. I don't know if people know. I think it's most of us. Yes, it's human. It's human nature.
So I'm like, I'm not gonna get it. So I wasn't as nervous. So my confidence, I just went in myself. And when I did that, I guess we clicked.
It's an asset.
It just clicked, and they was like, we want it. And they hired me, but it's like, we know you ain't gonna stay long, just give me your credentials and what you wanna do, but we want you. So I took 2 years to work at the United States federal courts and learn the court system, but I knew it was a stepping stone just to get in the door in the federal, to get to federal probation.
And I just wanna touch on something about your faith too, because some of the things you're doing sounds like to most people I would think like, well, where do you get this idea from? How do you get the motivation? Cause some of this, it seems like it's faith. What about your faith life? Are you really faith oriented? Do you attend church, things of that nature?
Yeah, I attend City of Light, now currently on 68th and Burlock.
Okay.
But I'm real big, like, as you know, when you grew up across the street, my grandma kept us in church.
Yes, Lord.
Kept us
Yes,
in church.
Lord. Yes, Lord.
So it was like I had this foundation that was there, even though I strayed away, I always come back to the foundation. Yes. So just because my grandma kept me there, I just knew that I was always covered by God, and I always felt like
that's a big deal. Thank you, Jesus, for real. That's that's a big deal, Amos. Because as you mentioned, I'm the same way. You know, we both grew up in our grandmother's homes. You always go back to the foundation, so that's important for even parents to know, and grandparents, aunties, uncles, whoever's in the environment to help these children. They may stray away, but if you have the foundation of the good Lord, of faith, things of that nature, you always come back. But talk to me about your wife. How did you and your beautiful wife, Kristina, meet?
We met in college.
Okay.
We met in college. The greatest part, we got the same birthday.
Okay, so it's sort of like a little faith there too, okay? Okay.
So we met, I was doing DoorDash as an RA, and we just met, and I'm just listening. I'm doing DoorDash, and she downstairs, and she practicing speech. And I don't know her I'm like, speak up.
And you're just that comfortable,
just speak up.
Meant to be.
She was like, why are you talking to me? And I'm like, you should speak up. I'm just trying to give you constructive. But from there, it just was like I kept running into her, and eventually, like, hey, you just wanna go out? And she was like, sure. And then from there, we just.
How long have you two been married now?
Been married going on 7 years.
That's a big deal. So you got married early 20s, if that's the case. Right?
I married at 24. She was 21.
Okay, and how many children?
We had 2, a boy and a girl, 4 and 8.
And I guess that's sort of like a good leeway into the foundation, because you said your spouse, which, you know, teamwork is the best, especially if it's your spouse, your wife, someone that believes in you, your rib, you know, things of that nature. How did that start with the LLC? You just shared it with me. If you can just share with the audience.
Right. So I knew when I was a state probation officer, I wanted to do more. I finally became a federal probation officer, and I wanted to help. And I'm helping, I'm educating, I'm really getting people to think about the past traumas. I took a lot from my wife, who's a therapist, who allowed me to learn from her, and I applied to a lot of people that I work for. So then, as a probation officer, only so much help you can do. It's only so much. So I knew I wanted to do more. So I always had the ideal in college to start a nonprofit. So in this nonprofit, I'm like, the Malone Foundation. This is it. So my wife kind of inspired it. She was just like, you always talking about this dream, but you never really put forth any action yet. So
thank you, Kristina.
So she for Christmas started an LLC called the Malone Foundation LLC.
No, that's a big deal to stop right there for Christmas.
For Christmas,
huh? So,
Christmas
you know y'all
gift.
going places, okay? For Christmas, so instead of about shoes or jewelry, okay. So she did an LLC for
Yeah,
you.
she
Okay.
did an LLC, got me some podcast equipment because I told her I wanted to do that. So she got me all this stuff, other stuff I was talking about, dreaming about. And I'm like, why you do an LLC? I don't want to do an LLC. I was like, I need it's supposed to be a nonprofit. Because I was like, I'm not trying to get paid for the work I'm doing. I just want to serve the community, serve this population. And she was like, oh, I didn't know. So I
got
had
the ball rolling.
right.
Though. Okay.
She got the ball rolling and the motivation to see it actually there. Not only that, she got me Adopt a Highway. So she got the Adopt a Highway
Oh,
up,
like the
sign up.
That's a big
for,
deal.
And I was like, how did you do this? So it's just inspiring to see her do that. And
She
which was
believed
like,
in you.
she believed in me. And I was just like, let me take what she did and let me put forth action to it. Because I can't keep talking about it. Let me make it happen. So I ended up going to dissolve with the Department of Financial Institution here in Wisconsin. I ended up dissolving the LLC, and I had to change so I could keep my name. So I had to change it to an incorporation and then pay the filing fee and do it all over. So that way it can become an incorporation.
And that's a big deal because you just shared that with me. As I mentioned, we're going through the same process here with Mindful Mondays, me and my co-founder, Frederick Robinson. But you said from the LLC, which is a limited liability corporation or company, you had to dissolve that to start the not-for-profit.
To keep my name.
Okay, so that's okay. So then you did that. And then what was the process to file for the not-for-profit? Because some of our audience members, they're looking to probably start their own not-for-profit, or they may have questions about the process.
Right.
How was the process once you dissolved it and started the organization?
It was simple. I did a lot of
According
research.
to a PhD. Yeah, so
So I did a lot of research ahead of time. So it's just like I wanted to make sure I'm doing it correct because it was just me. So I did a lot of research when it comes to doing this. So then it was just like once I registered with the state, and then I had to go register for the EIN and the tax exempt status with the federal, the IRS.
Okay.
So once I got all of that rolling, I had to do the core articles of incorporation. Had to explain what it is that I'm trying to do, what population I'm serving, what is my goals and intent with this organization.
Okay.
And once I got all that submitted to the IRS and registered with the state, I was good to go. And I had to now open up the accounts and
about how long was that process, like from beginning to end, if you had to just estimate?
Yeah. So I started in November, December 21, and then I'll say I got all that back probably like mid 22.
Okay, so it's not an overnight thing, like we're talking about 6 months if you want to get saved, and this is with someone that's acting on it. Well, talk about the Malone Foundation. Like, what is your, not the mission, like, what do you hope to get accomplished? How can we assist ourselves, the audience? Like, what can we do to assist the Malone Foundation? What is the that you want to do to help the community?
So the Malone Foundation is a 501c3 that's to help anybody that's involved, not anyone, primarily men. I'm not gonna turn anyone away, but primarily
Focus
men.
is
Focus is males, that has been impacted by the justice system. Primarily those who have been incarcerated. I have 3 major programs. So it's the Guide and Grow program, it's the Rise and Reenter program, and it's the Shelter and Support.
Okay.
So the Rise and Reenter, which is the shirt I have
and
on.
you gifted me one of these shirts as
Shirts.
well, so we want to
Yeah.
make sure that we show the shirt here, so thank you so much for
Yeah.
this, the Rise
So,
and Reenter.
It's the circle is simply like the transition period where we're rising up
Okay.
into it, and then with that transition period where we're coming out of prison, and now we provided with the resources, the support they need to be successful. So that's where the Rise and Reenter, and the 3 dots represent the faith, the Trinity of.
Okay, it's meaningful, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to, so I have that program, and right now just providing support. Now, if that's consultations like, oh, I have a probation officer I'm not agreeing with, or I'm struggling on supervision, I need your help, how would you do this? Like, so I give advice, I give consultation with that, mentorship with that. I would like to eventually, when I get funding, everything I'm doing now is out of pocket, because I don't know how to grant write. You're right. I don't know how to grant write. So that's the one thing I was doing, out of pocket, providing resources, and how can I help them with that? And eventually, hopefully transition to the jobs, because we know and when people re-enter, some of their struggles are housing,
Gainful
employment,
yes.
Family support. We know some of those big barriers that they deal with while they coming out of prison. So that's the goal, is to eventually provide that. So in my Guide and Grow program, I'm running juvenile delinquency prevention group.
Wow.
Now every Tuesday from 4:30 to 5:30 at Oma's Place.
Okay, now where is that located? I'm sorry.
Right down the street on Fun
Okay,
Lake, right
so
here,
I
like
see the
41st
sign.
and Fun Lake.
Okay.
So I partner with them. They St. Charles, a lot of people that's been affected by, like juveniles that have been affected by the criminal justice system.
Okay.
So a lot of the people from St. Charles will come there, and I will host a group on Tuesdays, and they'll come back and we'll talk. Like last group, I had someone that was formerly incarcerated on federal and state supervision come talk to them about his experience of incarceration. I had a U.S. attorneys come talk, MPDs.
Oh, cool. So you bring a lot of,
Yeah.
a lot of resources.
A lot of resources. I had the chief of police come in, so it's like a lot of resources there pouring into the youth and like what we talking about, our image, our friend groups,
Everything.
our
like
decision making,
everything.
everything, substance use. So that's the Guide and Grow program, is to do juvenile delinquency prevention. My goal is to eventually give out scholarships to those that may be still in school, like I did with Howard Fuller when I was giving out scholarships there.
Okay.
So the goal is there, but like I said, everything is out of pocket
Yeah,
right
so
now.
that's what we wanted to work on too, because you have such a wonderful background. Because I'm going to share your bio as well on our Facebook, sorry, on our website,
Mhm.
because we do want to let everyone know what you're doing right now. But we want to support your mission, because as you mentioned when your wife did the LLC, you do not want to make money off of this, but it should not also come out of your pocket, because the work that you're doing is taking time, your expertise, which is your financial donation right there.
Right.
So what we like to do is make sure that we can give charities, if someone wants to donate, how can they get in contact with the Malone Foundation or donate if they want to assist you?
My website is up. It's the www.themalonefoundation.com. On there, if you go to the About page, there's a support About page. You can learn everything that I'm doing, the movement, the Rise and Reenter movement, the Guide and Grow program. Everything is on my website. There's a link to donate.
Yes.
It will go to the account and everything.
And that's what we're going to do, because I'm personally pledging to do that and help you with that as well. That's what Mindful Mondays is about. We're here to bring resources, to collaborate, and really to help each other out, especially if it's something as positive as you're doing. So you'll hear more about that as well, because as I mentioned to you, I'm aware of some grants that you would be perfect for. So I'm going to assist you with that, and that's what we're going to be doing here. But if you want to get in touch with Amos Malone and hear more about his foundation, or his beautiful wife and his children, if you want to have some advice on being a husband and father, because you're such a great husband and father, so I just love your family unit. How can they contact you? Do you do any mentorship, or really just through your foundation?
Everything. If my email is on my website,
Okay.
Everything is on my website. I literally work with juveniles to people that was incarcerated, to like, if you just want to talk about life, mentorship, like I'm all for. Like another avenue that I'm passionate about is those that's returning from college. It's like you get a degree. Like I said, I struggle getting a job after graduation.
That's very common right now.
So it's like, how do you stay motivated to? Because a lot of people get a job that's not even in their field. So it's like, how do you stay motivated to get a job in your field? And not only that, how do I build on it, climb on it, and start like, I went from working in a factory, it took me 4 years. I went from working in a factory making $10 an hour to being a federal probation officer and making up to $80,000-$90,000 a year. And within this 4-year gap, but I had a plan. And I was like, I'm gonna do this and this and this, but it took strategic planning to do that. And I provide a lot of mentorship with those just looking to figure out their own way and stay involved.
Well, this is wonderful. I'm just so proud of you, as you know already. We always keep in contact about our family, about things that are going on with our professional career. So if you have questions for Amos here, please feel free to reach out to Mindful Mondays MKE. Put in the comments section. We have to have you come back, actually. We do have some in-person events that we do too, the Mindful Mondays. And I would like to have some of the resources maybe you can share with your attorneys coming in, things of that nature, to speak to our audience too. So thank you so much, Amos. You know how much I love you. I'm proud of you. Thank you for sharing your resources. But if you'd like to get in contact with Amos to support his mission, his foundation, as he mentioned, www.themalonefoundation.com, Malone, which is MALONE, foundation.com, or as we mentioned, reach out to us. But we are coming back as well. We do have Minister Wendell Harris coming to join us. As we mentioned, he is the president of the Wisconsin chapter of the NAACP, and he's going to share the importance and the role that NAACP, as well as his experience, have played in our community. So thank you so much, Amos. We were so happy to have you join us.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.